She went on Instagram Live, "My fiancé is on a business trip, so I'm throwing a party and cheating." Then kissed another man. I calmly texted, "Looks fun." Then she heard a knock at the door. When her 15,000 viewers watched me and her entire family walk in with a surprise engagement party cake. Long story short, don't cheat on social media when your fiancé's best friend is a lawyer and your whole family follows your account. I, 28M at the time, was engaged to Mia, 26F, my girlfriend of 3 years. We met at a friend's destination wedding in Cancun, where she was the maid of honor and I was a groomsman. Classic rom-com setup, right? We hit it off immediately, did the long-distance thing for a while. She lived in Atlanta, I was in Chicago, and eventually I relocated for a job opportunity that conveniently put us in the same city. Mia is an aspiring influencer. When we met, she had maybe 2,000 followers, mostly friends and family. By the time we got engaged, she'd built it up to about 15,000. Not exactly Kardashian territory, but enough to get some free products and the occasional sponsored post. Her content was mostly fashion, lifestyle stuff, and relationship posts about our journey. I was never really comfortable being featured, but I went along with it because it made her happy. The whole social media girlfriend thing wasn't my favorite, but Mia had a lot of great qualities too. She was funny, outgoing, and could charm anyone's parents within 5 minutes of meeting them. My mom absolutely adored her, which, trust me, is saying something. Mom's standards for who's good enough for her baby boy are higher than NASA's astronaut requirements. Anyway, last July, I had to go to San Francisco for what was supposed to be a 3-day business trip. I work in software sales, and we were pitching to a major potential client. It was a big deal. The kind of contract that determines whether the year-end bonus is nice dinner out money or down payment on a house money. The morning I left, Mia seemed distracted, mostly focused on planning what she called a small girls' night while I was away. No big deal. She'd done these before, usually just her and 4 to 5 friends drinking wine and watching terrible reality TV. I kissed her goodbye, reminded her to water the plants she always forgot, and headed to the airport. The client meetings in San Francisco went well, so well that they asked us to stay 2 more days to meet with their executive team. I called Mia to tell her I'd be delayed, and she sounded relieved. At the time, I thought she was just being supportive of my career opportunity. "That's great, babe. Don't worry about rushing back. I've got plenty to keep me occupied," she said. I should have picked up on the weird tone, but I was focused on the meetings. My boss was ecstatic, the team was celebrating, and I was distracted. Plus, Mia had never given me any reason not to trust her before. On what was supposed to be my last night in San Francisco, day 5 of my now extended trip, after a long day of presentations, I was in my hotel room preparing notes for the following morning when my phone started blowing up with texts. "My best friend from college? Dude, are you seeing this? Call me ASAP. My cousin Emily, OMG, check Mia's Instagram right now." Even my mom, "Honey, I'm so sorry. Call me when you can." Confused and increasingly concerned, I opened Instagram to find that Mia was doing a live video. This wasn't unusual. She did lives pretty regularly for her followers. What was unusual was that she was clearly hosting a party in our apartment, and it was definitely not the small girls' night she described. There had to be at least 30 people there, music blasting, drinks flowing, and Mia was, let's say, enjoying herself. I watched, increasingly stunned, as she downed shots, danced on our coffee table, the vintage one we'd found at a flea market and painstakingly restored together, and flirted with various guys I'd never seen before. At first, only about 1,200 of her 15,000 followers were tuned into the live, a typical number for her weeknight streams. But as the drama unfolded and people started texting their friends to tune in, that number quickly climbed past 5,000. The comments were rolling in fast, mostly her followers eating up the drama, some expressing concern, others encouraging her to live her best life. And then she said it, right into the camera with a drunk, sloppy smile. "Since my boring-ass fiancé is on his business trip," she actually did air quotes, "I'm throwing the party of the year. And who knows, maybe I'll find someone who actually knows how to have fun, unlike Mr. Pout spreadsheets." The comments exploded. I couldn't even process what I was seeing. This was the woman I'd proposed to 6 months ago, the one I'd been planning a future with. But it got worse. She grabbed some tall guy with a man bun and pulled him into frame. "This is Derek," she slurred. "He's a DJ and he has the most amazing tattoos. Want to see everyone?" Derek, looking slightly uncomfortable but not uncomfortable enough to leave, lifted his shirt to show a mediocre phoenix tattoo on his ribs. The comment section went wild with fire emojis. "Isn't he hot?" Mia giggled. "And the best part is, he doesn't bore me with talk about sales quotas in client meetings." And then, looking directly into the camera with a defiant expression, she pulled man bun Derek in for a kiss. Not a friendly peck. A full-on, hands in his hair, tongue-involved kiss. In our apartment, on a live video. With over 7,000 people watching by this point. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. But something strange happened. After the initial shock, an eerie calm washed over me. The kind of calm that only comes when a decision makes itself. I texted her. "Looks fun. You might want to check who's watching your live though." See, what Mia had forgotten, in her inebriated state, was that her followers included her conservative parents, her 3 older brothers, her boss at the marketing firm where she worked, and most importantly, my mother, who had been helping us plan a surprise engagement party for when I returned from my trip. Though we'd been engaged for 6 months, we hadn't yet had a formal celebration. Mia's parents had been traveling through Europe for most of the spring, and I'd been swamped with the project that led to the San Francisco pitch. The surprise party was supposed to be our official celebration, with both families finally in the same place. The original plan had been for me to come home, pretend everything was normal, then have my mom invite us to dinner, where all our friends and family would be waiting to celebrate. We'd kept it a secret from Mia for weeks. The venue was booked, the custom cake ordered, the photographer paid. What I hadn't mentioned yet is that Ryan had been my point person in Atlanta, coordinating with my mom for weeks to plan the surprise engagement party. When the Instagram Live started, he was already with my mother and Mia's parents at his apartment, waiting to bring them upstairs for what was supposed to be a joyful surprise. Instead, he found himself texting me frantically while trying to decide whether to abort the whole plan. As I watched the live, I could see the exact moment when my text registered. Mia glanced down at her phone, did a double take, then her eyes went wide with panic. She quickly scanned the viewer list and her face drained of color. "I have to go," she mumbled to the camera, but before she could end the live, there was a knock at the door. What happened next is etched into my memory with the clarity of a 4K video. Mia, still on live, stumbled to the door, probably expecting another party guest. Instead, she opened it to find my mother, her parents, 2 of her brothers, and Ryan, who lives in the same building and had let everyone in. And they were carrying a massive cake that read, "Congrats Mia and Tyler. Forever starts now." The look on her face was, well, if there's a word that combines horror, shock, embarrassment, and instant sobriety, that would be it. Surprise, my mom said, her smile tight and eyes glacial. The kind of smile that says, "I'm going to be polite in public, but someone is getting murdered later." Mia stood frozen in the doorway, mouth opening and closing like a goldfish. The party behind her had gone eerily quiet as people sensed the atmospheric shift from fun to global catastrophe. Her mother pushed past her into the apartment, taking in the scene, the drinks, the crowd, man bun Derek trying to shrink behind a potted plant, and then turned to Mia with an expression that could have frozen lava. "End the video, Amelia. Now." Her voice was quiet but carried the promise of biblical consequences. Mia, still in shock, fumbled with her phone and finally managed to stop the live. But it was too late. By the final moments, nearly 10,000 people, including most of our social and professional circles, had just witnessed her infidelity, followed by the most awkward surprise party entrance in history. Ryan, brilliant man that he is, immediately announced to everyone present, "Tyler is listening through my phone right now," as he put his phone on speaker and plugged it into a portable charger. This ensured everyone knew I was virtually present and eliminated any legal concerns about recording. I watched all this from my hotel room in San Francisco, 2,300 miles away, with a strange sense of detachment. I heard Mia's stammered excuses, her mother's icy, "We'll discuss this later," the awkward dispersal of party guests, and finally, Mia's breakdown once everyone but family had left. "How could you do this to Tyler?" her father demanded. "That boy has done nothing but support you, and this is how you repay him? By humiliating him in front of everyone you know?" "It wasn't. I didn't mean," Mia sobbed. "Save it," one of her brothers cut in. "We all saw what you meant. The whole internet saw." Mia's youngest brother initially tried to defend her, suggesting I might have been neglecting her emotionally, but even he fell silent after her other brother pulled up the full video replay on his phone. Ryan kept me on the line for about 45 minutes before his battery pack finally died. He texted me updates throughout the night. Mia's family took her to their house. The apartment was left in shambles. Man bun Derek had slunk away during the chaos, apparently having suddenly remembered an urgent appointment on the other side of town. I spent the rest of the night alternating between shock, rage, and a bizarre desire to laugh at the absurdity of it all. I called my mom, who was in full mama bear mode. "Come home, honey," she urged. "We'll handle everything." But I had a job to do. Walking away from the pitch would mean letting down my entire team. So I compartmentalized like I've never compartmentalized before. I've always dealt with stress by focusing obsessively on work. It's not healthy, my therapist later told me, but in this case, it was professionally advantageous. I got through the final day of meetings on autopilot, somehow managed not to mention that my personal life was going up in flames, and we closed the biggest deal in the company's history. My boss was ecstatic. I was numb. By the time I flew home the next evening, Saturday, the video had spread well beyond Mia's followers. Although Instagram would automatically delete the live after 24 hours, by then dozens of people had recorded and reposted it across multiple platforms. Someone had recorded the live and posted it on Reddit, where it hit the top of r/all and dominated several major subreddits like r/relationships and r/public freakout for days. It jumped to Twitter, then TikTok. The video spread like wildfire, with people reposting it everywhere despite the questionable legality of recording someone else's live without permission. I later learned that Mia could have potentially filed DMCA claims against the reposts, but she was too focused on damage control to pursue that avenue. Internet strangers were debating my relationship, creating memes of Mia's shocked face, and alternately condemning her and offering me sympathy. A few people even recognized me at the airport, giving me awkward nods of solidarity. Ryan met me at my apartment, which had been cleaned up by my mom and Mia's mortified parents. Mia's things were gone. She'd come with her brothers to collect the essentials while I was still in the air. She tried to spin it, Ryan told me, showing me her newest Instagram post. It was a tearful apology claiming the kiss was a terrible mistake, that she'd had too much to drink, and that she still loved me more than anything. The comments were merciless. I didn't respond. Instead, I posted a single photo to my rarely used Instagram, the engagement ring sitting in its open box on my bedside table. No caption, no explanation, just the visual equivalent of "we're done here." The aftermath was both better and worse than I expected. Better because I had an incredible support system. My family, friends, and even colleagues rallied around me. The surprise engagement party venue refunded most of our deposit. The cake company, after hearing the story, sent me a small dodged-a-bullet cake, which was both inappropriate and exactly what I needed. Worse because, well, going viral for being cheated on isn't exactly a boost to your self-esteem. For weeks I couldn't go anywhere without someone bringing it up. Dating became a minefield. Was this person interested in me, or just the guy from that video? Mia tried everything to win me back. Tearful phone calls, handwritten letters, even a grand gesture involving a string quartet in the lobby of my office building, which resulted in security being called. This incident led to a formal warning from my lawyer about potential harassment charges if such behavior continued. Her social media following actually grew from the incident, though most were just there for the drama. I blocked her on everything and focused on rebuilding. Got a therapist. Threw myself into work. Adopted a dog from the shelter. Standard post-breakup recovery stuff. About 6 months after it all went down, I received an unexpected email from Mia's oldest brother, Marcus. We'd always gotten along well. He was protective of his sister, but also the first to call her out when she was being ridiculous. "Tyler," he wrote, "I know you have every reason to ignore this, but I thought you should know that Mia's been in therapy since everything happened. She's finally starting to understand the magnitude of what she did, not just to you, but to herself. She's deleted her Instagram, gotten a new job, and is trying to live a more authentic life. This isn't an attempt to win you back. That ship has sailed, and we all know it. It's just, well, my parents and I thought you deserved to know that some good eventually came out of this mess. You were always too good for her, but maybe now she's becoming someone who would have deserved you." According to her brother, the public humiliation triggered a long overdue reevaluation of her values. The therapy wasn't just about the cheating, but about her entire social media-centered identity. I appreciated the email, but didn't respond. Some doors are better left closed. As for me, I'm doing well now. The company promoted me after the San Francisco deal. I bought a condo, the dog and I go hiking on weekends. I've been dating someone new, a children's book illustrator who uses social media only to post pictures of her work and her elderly cat. She knows about the incident, but has never watched the video out of respect for my privacy. Although I had blocked Mia on all platforms, our social circles still overlapped significantly. From what I hear through mutual friends who still followed her, Mia is doing better too. She's out of the influencer game completely, teaching yoga at a studio owned by her cousin, and dating a guy who doesn't own a smartphone by choice. Life is strange that way. The video still surfaces occasionally. It was submitted to Know Your Meme as Surprise Party Cheater and was listed in their Being Researched section for weeks before fading into internet obscurity. But the internet's attention span is short, and there's always a newer, more dramatic scandal to focus on. If there's a lesson in all this, I guess it's that social media isn't real life. Trust should be earned, not assumed. And if you're going to cheat on your partner, maybe don't live stream it to your entire social network. Oh, and always check who's watching your Instagram live before you start bad-mouthing your fiancé. You never know when his mother might be planning a surprise party. Edit. Thanks for all the kind comments and awards. To answer some common questions. Yes, man bun, Derek knew she was engaged. According to mutual friends, he'd been hitting on her for months and knew exactly what he was doing. Last I heard, he's still DJing at the same mediocre clubs and hitting on engaged women. No, I don't regret not confronting her during the live. What would that have accomplished? Yelling at her through a phone screen wouldn't have changed anything, and it would have just made me look unhinged to thousands of strangers. The text and surprise entrance were much more effective. The dog's name is Pixel. He's a three-legged pit bull mix who hogs the bed and is afraid of the vacuum cleaner, but will fearlessly chase squirrels 3 times his size. Best decision I ever made. For those asking about the cake company, it's a local Atlanta business called Sweet Revenge Bakery. Fitting, right? The owner is a divorced woman who said my story spoke to her soul. The dodged-a-bullet cake was chocolate with raspberry filling and came with a card that just said, "Her loss." I've ordered every birthday cake from them since. Yes, I still have the vintage coffee table. No, I will never look at it the same way again. Edit 2. Since multiple people have asked, the video isn't easily found anymore. After Mia deleted her Instagram, most reposts were eventually taken down too, either through reporting or just the natural cycle of internet content. I'm grateful for this. While the revenge was satisfying in the moment, I don't need a permanent record of one of the worst days of my life floating around forever. If you really want to see a drunk person ruin their relationship on social media, just wait 5 minutes. Another one will pop up. Final update. It's been a little over 2 years now, and life has moved on in the best possible ways. I'm engaged again, to the children's book illustrator, who is everything Mia wasn't: kind, authentic, private, and trustworthy. We're expecting a baby girl in the spring. Pixel has accepted her as part of the family and has even given up a small portion of the bed. As for Mia, I ran into her at a grocery store about 6 months ago. It was awkward but civil. She apologized again, I wished her well, and we parted ways knowing we'd likely never speak again. Some stories don't need sequels. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. Sometimes the most painful experiences lead us exactly where we need to be.